Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're diving into something huge, something that usually means getting on a plane, right? World religions.
Yeah, definitely.
But our source material suggests, maybe controversially, that you can explore that whole landscape without leaving Canada.
It's a fascinating premise.
So that's our mission today, looking at the data, the stories that paint Canada as this ultimate lab for religious pluralism.
A living laboratory.
Exactly. We want to see the diversity, obviously, but also what ties it all together. What's this universal religious thing going on? Basically a shortcut, using Canada as our lens.
And you've picked the perfect lens, really. If you want one place to study this great encounter of faiths, Canada is, well, pretty much unmatched.
Unmatched how?
Well, the United Nations has actually called Canada the most multicultural society on the planet.
Wow. Okay.
And Toronto, specifically, often gets tagged as the world's most multicultural city. So this diversity isn't just superficial, it's deep. It makes Canada the stage for what our sources call one of the great encounters of the modern world. All the major religions interacting, day in, day out.
So pluralism isn't just a policy paper goal.
No, not at all. It's literally a defining feature of how Canadian society works right now.
Okay, that sets the stage geographically. But I mean, what makes this really hit home for me is how the sources describe everyday life. It's not theory. It's baked right into people's morning routines, you know?
Absolutely. Picture this spectrum happening all at once across the country.
Yeah.
You've got young people maybe greeting the sun with a prayer, others heading to church, someone else reading from the Torah in a synagogue nearby.
Or laying out a prayer rug towards Makkah.
Exactly. And in that same mix, you might see a young Sikh boy carefully twisting his hair, putting on his turban.
Part of his daily practice.
Right. Or maybe two indigenous brothers starting their day with a smudge ceremony, using sweet grass smoke to cleanse themselves.
It's not like these are separate little worlds.
Not at all. They're all threads in the same societal fabric. Shared space.
And sometimes those threads cross in really noticeable ways. The sources point out this amazing week back in December 2000.
Oh, yeah, that was remarkable. You had three major Abrahamic faiths, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, all holding significant observances simultaneously.
In the same week.
In the very same week. Christians celebrating Christmas, Jews marking Hanukkah, and Muslims concluding Ramadan with Eid al-Fitr, the big feast.
That's such a clear picture of how these different rhythms can, I guess, coexist or even harmonize.
It really is. And legally, this isn't just left to chance. There's strong protection.
The charter, right.
Exactly. Freedom of conscience and religion is right there in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. But, and this is a really key insight from the sources, the separation of religion and state. It's not absolute. There's a built-in tension there.
That's the part that's really fascinating to me. You think of Canada, you know, super secular democracy, but then key national things like the Constitution Act itself, 1982, even the national anthem. They actually mention the supremacy of God.
Precisely. And that tension isn't just historical trivia. It plays out.
How so?
Well, think about public policy debates. Funding for religious schools, right? Or where you draw the line between equality rights and religious freedoms. That constitutional nod to God, that's often the pressure point. It means Canadians are always navigating this space that's both religiously free and historically acknowledges the divine.
So it's a fundamental complexity, not just a footnote.
Exactly. It shapes the ongoing conversation.
So if Canada, the place, is defined by all this outward variety, we have to go deeper. What's the inner drive? Here's where it gets really interesting. Beyond the specific rules or prophets or books of any one religion, what makes humans religious in the first place? What's that core impulse?
Our sources call it the religious impulse. Basically an instinct, a deep urge to worship something, to look for something beyond just this, the material world.
It's an urge.
Well, the research suggests it's ancient, maybe older than us, Homo sapiens. There's evidence Neanderthals had rituals, some sense of a supernatural force.
Wow. So it's deep.
Very deep. It's fundamentally a search for something, well, better. Something you can't quite grasp through just physical means.
And even though the practices look wildly different, like Jainism versus Orthodox Judaism, the sources say most religions share a kind of basic structure, common features.
Yeah, if you peel back the cultural layers and look at the framework, you see patterns. Pretty much every major faith believes in a supernatural or spiritual realm.
And the soul.
And crucially, the existence of a soul.
Yeah.
That idea of a deeper, non-physical part of us. They also all have sacred texts, scriptures, that hold their core stories and beliefs.
And they give answers, right, to the big questions.
Exactly. They offer explanations for those universal human puzzles that science often doesn't tackle head on, like why we suffer or what's the ultimate point of it all.
Okay, makes sense. What else?
Well, they always provide a system of ethics, rules for conduct, basically, guiding how people should act morally.
Well, moral compass.
Right. And finally, they build a strong sense of community, of family. This is reinforced through shared rituals, festivals, ways to celebrate and pass on their beliefs together. These things meet fundamental human needs.
Which brings us back to the why, the psychology. The sources didn't just list features, they dug into why we seem to need this stuff. What are the roots of this drive?
Okay, so 4 main drivers came up. First, fear and insecurity. Plain and simple. Life throws curveballs. We face things that feel overwhelming. We're scared of dying. We get lonely. We even see destructive sides in ourselves.
Yeah.
Religion offers a framework. Hope, maybe a refuge. Answers or support when things feel too hard alone. It offers a counter to, the finality of death, immortality, and some form.
Okay, fear. What's next?
The second is wonder and awe. Science is amazing at explaining how things work, the mechanics of the universe.
Sure.
But for many people, it doesn't quite satisfy the why. Why is all this here? How did it start? The religious impulse steps into that space, looking for purpose, maybe design, some ultimate meaning behind it all.
The big why. Got it. Third
is identity and meaning.
Yeah.
The sense that we're more than just our jobs or roles. I'm not just a teacher or a student. There's a feeling of a deeper, more lasting reality.
The soul again.
Often called the soul, yeah. It gives a sense of identity that feels more permanent, more purposeful than just social labels.
Okay, fear, wonder, identity. What's the last one?
And finally, a sense of unfulfillment, especially in places like Canada, modern consumer societies. Many people feel that materialism and just buying stuff, it doesn't actually satisfy them.
The keeping up with the Joneses trap.
Kind of, yeah. Just looking for a different reality, something based more on spiritual connection than just acquiring things.
That desire for something more, for guidance, that leads right into faith and morality, doesn't it?
Ethics.
I mean, ethics is just trying to figure out how to act well, right? Asking, what kind of person should I be?
And for a long, long time, in many cultures, ethics and religion were seen as, well, basically the same thing. Your faith told you what was right and wrong, a divine command.
But that's being questioned more now in our secular world.
Oh, definitely. The sources mention a Canadian humanist, Robert Buckman. He wrote a book with a really provocative title, Can We Be Good Without God?
Whoa. Yeah, that makes you stop and think.
It really does. His argument was basically, no, ethics don't have to come from religion. Leading a good life, focusing on human well-being right here, between birth and death. That's what matters.
So a major debate there.
A huge one. And it's especially relevant now with technology. Tech connects us, improves health.
Sure.
But it doesn't answer those core religious questions, does it? Who am I? What happens after I die?
No, it doesn't.
And, historically, science and religion were often seen as enemies. Think Darwin versus literal interpretations of scripture. Big battles.
Right, the conflict model. But the sources hint that's changing.
Yeah, the relationship seems to be shifting. Maybe towards something more like a complementary partnership.
How so?
Well, both are searching for truth, for order, for meaning, just in different ways.
Yep.
Science explains the what and how of the physical world brilliantly. Religion tends to operate in the why space, addressing purpose, ultimate questions, things science can't easily measure, at least not yet.
Okay, interesting shift. Now, before we go further, there's something the source material really hammers home that learners need to grasp. Don't mix up ethnicity and religion.
Oh, absolutely vital. Especially with media portrayals. Ethnicity is about your origins, race, culture. Religion is about your beliefs, your practices.
You can't assume one from the other.
Never. You find South Asians who are deeply Christian. People with European backgrounds practicing Buddhism. It's the belief and the practice that define the religion, not where your ancestors came from.
Which loops back to popular culture's influence, right? The sources warn about that. Fun, sure, but often simplistic or negative when it comes to faith.
Exactly. Media often needs easy narratives. Clear villains sometimes. Nuance gets lost. Faith becomes a stereotype. That's why critical thinking, not just watching movies, is so important here.
Gotta be disciplined consumers of info.
Oh, sure.
Okay, to really illustrate how messy these lines can get, sacred, secular, cultural, well, let's take the big one. Christmas. It's maybe the perfect case study. A religious holy day so wrapped up in secular stuff, commercialism, that finding the original message can be, well, hard.
The non-religious impact is just enormous, isn't it? Christmas drives something like 40% of yearly shopping in many places.
40%. Wow.
It shapes holidays, music charts, movie releases. It's a massive commercial event alongside being sacred for Christians.
And yet the core story is very specific. The birth of Jesus in Bethlehem, Mary and Joseph, shepherds showing up.
And the Magi visiting. Likely Zoroastrian priests actually following some kind of star.
Right. And we should probably mention that December 25th date, almost certainly not the actual historical birthday.
Highly unlikely, yeah. But then you contrast that specific sacred story with Santa Claus.
Ah, the secular side.
Purely secular evolution. Starts with St. Nicholas over in Turkey, patron saint of kids.
Okay.
It travels through Dutch culture because of Sinterklaas. Then this American poem, The Night Before Christmas, 1822, turns him into the flying gift giver we recognize.
And the final look, the red suit, the beard.
That image was basically locked down and spread everywhere by Coca-Cola's advertising campaigns.
Incredible. So that timeline just shows how business and secular stories can just weave themselves right into a sacred narrative. Makes it tough to untangle.
And this blend has real social effects. For people who aren't Christian, all the hoopla, as the source puts it, can feel overwhelming, even alienating.
Yeah, I can see that.
So you see shifts, like Winterval, appearing in parts of England, or schools in Canada holding Winterfests. These are meant to be inclusive interfaith events, replacing the traditional Christmas-specific ones.
But does this blurring just lead to confusion or conflict?
Well, not necessarily. The sources offer a really nice counterpoint from an author, Ellie Tesher. She describes her multi-faith family in Toronto.
Oh, what's their setup?
They've got a Hanukkah menorah, a Christmas tree, Buddhist texts all in the home. But she says, despite all that, there's still no confusion.
Why not?
Because, as she puts it, everyone knows who they are and where they come from. It suggests that you can be immersed in cultural overlap without losing your own identity.
That's a hopeful perspective. It brings us right back to Canada as this model of modern religious encounter.
Exactly. And as we start to wrap up this deep dive, let's glance at the actual numbers on religious participation today.
Okay, what does the data show?
Statistics Canada looked at attendance trends, specifically between 1988 and 1998. They found regular attendance at services actually dropped by nearly 10% overall.
A decline. So who is still going regularly? Who's keeping the faith communities active in this more secular age?
The data highlights a few specific groups pretty clearly. Married couples with kids are more likely to attend regularly.
Okay.
Senior citizens too. Also people living in rural areas. And this connects right back to our main theme.
Yes.
Recent immigrants show high rates of regular worship, especially those coming from Asia.
Ah, so that links back to the multiculturalism point.
It really does. The insight here is powerful.
Yeah.
The face of active religion in Canada is changing. It's shifting from maybe a primarily European Christian base towards a much more global mix, heavily influenced by newer Canadians.
So what does this all mean? Let's try and tie it together. Our sources make it clear. Canada is defined by this incredible religious diversity. That religious impulse seems genuinely human, a deep search for meaning.
Yeah.
And you absolutely need critical thinking to navigate the blurred lines.
Faith, culture, ethics, media, it's all mixed up.
It's like the whole world's religious landscape is right here to study inside Canadian borders.
And the lesson seems to be about observing how it works and maybe why it works here. What allows this coexistence?
Okay, so here's a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on after this deep dive. The source material suggests something important about judgment. It says, when you look at a religion that isn't yours, try to judge it by its best ideals, the same way you'd want your own beliefs judged.
A principle of charity, almost.
Exactly. So if knowledge is best when you use it, think about this. What specific best ideals, maybe compassion from one faith, community from another, peace from a third, could you learn more about, or even apply to your own personal way of living today?
Instead of focusing on the walls.
Look for the common threads, the shared human desires that lead us to worship in all these different ways.